So today we are training back, real delts and biceps. But before that, I'm taking my family on the family trip on the beach. So even during contest prep, I always find a way between my personal life and competition preparation. So I have to give my family time as well. So let's go on the beach. Okay, hello everyone. Today we are 9 weeks out and we are training today back, real delts and biceps. However, before we do that, I went together with my family on the beach to spend some family time. So this is all about finding the balance between competition prep and family life. I cannot put aside my family life. I am Ivan, 51 years old. In today's training footage, I was officially 9 weeks out from the PCA Irish Classic, and today's session I am deep into the part of prep where the goal isn't to build as much muscle as possible. The goal now is to keep as much muscle as possible while body fat continues to come down. And that's why the way I train during a cut is very different from simply trying to burn as many calories as possible in the gym. Today I'm training back, real delts, traps and biceps, and I'm keeping the focus on heavy, controlled work and giving the muscles a reason to stay. So I started with the wide grip lat pull downs. One of the biggest mistakes I see when people start dieting is that they immediately turn their training into cardio sessions. They lighter the weight, they increase the number of reps, and they start chasing a pump instead of trying to maintain performance. I'm not doing that. I'm still trying to produce high levels of muscular tension. Obviously, as the diet goes deeper and deeper, performance will eventually decline. But I'm going to fight to maintain strength for as long as I can. The important thing here isn't simply pulling the weight from A to B. I'm controlling the eccentric, so getting a good stretch at the top and trying to drive the elbows down rather than just pulling with my hands. I use my hands as hooks. Next was the pullover. This was the favorite exercise of Dorian Yates. I like using a pullover because I can train the lats through a different movement pattern without having my biceps become the limiting factor. So this machine pullover actually isolates biceps out of the exercise. So again, I'm not interested in throwing the weight around just because I'm dieting. The objective is to load the lats and control the movement and maintain the quality of every working rep. And this is something I think becomes even more important as you get older. You don't need endless volume. You need high quality volume that you can actually recover from. So after the 2 vertical pulling movements, I moved to a seated plate loaded row. Now I am getting more horizontal pulling and focusing on overall back thickness. I don't need like 10 different rowing exercises. I want a few movements that cover the major functions of the back, and then I want to execute those movements properly. So I have to have like a mind-muscle connection. The weight is only useful if I can make the target muscle do the work. So I don't go like extremely heavy and to sacrifice the form. Always trying to keep the form perfect. Finishing the main back work with assisted chins. I'm using assistance here because the goal isn't to prove that I can perform a certain number of bodyweight repetitions, because I'm still like too heavy to do that. The goal is to train the back effectively. So I'm going for a slow tempo. If using a small amount of assistance allows me to get controlled, productive reps, that's perfectly fine. Especially during contest prep, I don't see any reason to let ego dictate the exercise selection. Of course, I can do hanging chin-ups, but I don't do them for now because I'm in a contest prep. I also included 2 sets of back extensions. Strong posterior chain is important, not only for bodybuilding but for general strength and physical function as you get older. So if you have strong lower back, then it's actually an advantage. So again, I'm not doing endless sets. 2 hard sets are enough here. Not trying to build massive erectors, trying to just make them strong. Then I moved onto real delts. Real delts are one of those muscles that are easy to overlook because you don't see them as clearly in the mirror. But when you are trying to build a complete physique, they are important for shoulder development and the overall look of your upper back. So I am keeping the movement controlled and making sure the real delts are actually doing the work rather than turning this into another rowing movement. 2 sets of shrugs finished the upper back work. I don't need a huge amount of direct trap work because the traps are already involved in a lot of pulling I'm doing. This is about adding to spice up the direct work without creating unnecessary fatigue. Then on to biceps. I started with cable curls. Again, as I progressed with sets, I would increase the weight, and I was trying to keep reps in the range of 12 to 10. So after the pulling, I already done the biceps. Have had plenty of indirect work, so I don't need an enormous amount of direct volume. Because when you do the back exercises, yes, you involve biceps, not on the pullover though. I finished with the incline dumbbell curls. I really like this movement because you get a good lengthened position for the biceps, and also saw this exercise performed by Arnold in the movie Pumping Iron. So yeah, so this is an old exercise, effective. Even Arnold was doing that. So again, I'm not trying to completely destroy the muscle with 20 sets. I'm looking for controlled reps, a good range of motion, and intensity, and enough intensity to give the muscle a reason to stay. So that's today's back, real delt, trap, and bicep session, 9 weeks out. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this workout, it's this. When you are trying to lose fat, your training doesn't need to become easier. It needs to become smarter. So keep training hard, keep tracking your performance, keep enough volume to stimulate the muscle, but don't bury yourself in the fatigue that you can't recover from. And most importantly, don't confuse being exhausted with having had a productive workout. I'm 51, I am 9 weeks from the stage, and the objective right now is simple. So lose fat, keep the muscle, and arrive on stage as strong, as muscular as possible. If you are over 40 and you are trying to build muscle while getting leaner, subscribe to the channel. That's exactly what I'm documenting here.